Good morning, good morning. Hello. Happy Wednesday today? Yes, it is a Wednesday. Um, so in the previous days, we've created that random chooser. And I think like I've got that to a good spot. I mean, there's obviously a lot of things that could be done to make it better, but it does definitely chooses something randomly. What I want to do now is create something that helps me collect choices to then randomly choose from. So I'm thinking a command line application that will basically just like walk me through. Just say like, hey, enter a choice name and give it a color. Um, then after that, I think we can take that same thing and make it have a choice to read from the chat as well. So it could be like one of many. So I already have a brand new project, updated Rust. We're all up to the latest. If we take a look at this, we are currently using Rust 1.52.1 for this. I don't think we need GGEZ, but I think we can use the same crates as last time for like reading options from the input. So let's go ahead and look at our requirements for this. Okay, so basically, as a user of this, I see two use cases. I also feel that we're going to have the random chooser as a binary living in the same folder as this. So I run this, it creates a bunch of choices, and then I just run the other command, and then it just reads from those choices, essentially. So if I do have a config, I can't name it config because that's what the random chooser is expecting. All right, so let's think about this. What do I want to do? I want to, I guess in the first one, if I just open it up, it then asks me for a choice. So, program asks the user for a choice. I guess so they ask me for a choice, and then I'll respond. User can interactively provide choices with their colors, with their optional colors. And that's pretty much that for that side. I guess basically like if I stop giving a choice, so user stops giving choices, then exit and write the choices.json file. So we might as well just create a JSON file for this. I think that should be fine. Then we also want to be able to launch the application in chat mode. And what does that mean? So the program will ask the user for a choice. After we provide choices with optional colors, when the user stops giving choices. Yeah, okay, so that's good for that one. Now for this one, we can launch the application in chat mode. That means any Twitch chatters that comment with a command get entered into the choices, get entered as a choice. With their color set, if any. We also probably want to put in a time limit. So enter a time limit. After a time limit, the program exits and writes the choices file. So I think that could work for us. We'll have these two different modes they want to be in: interactive mode or chat mode. Chat mode is interesting to pull in because that will be using our Twitch chat wrapper, and we'll be needing to. Is there anything special we need to do for it? I mean, just like the normal, bring it in. It runs in a thread. And then after that, I don't know if there's anything else I need to do. It should just work. It's going to use channels to communicate. So we're probably going to want some kind of like channel system for like storing that. So maybe what we should do is I want to load up so we can take options from the command line or arguments from the command line. And then I also want to take in a chat. So I think these two things, like setting that up, is going to be paramount to getting a good introduction architecture for this. Okay, so I think the first thing, well, and the other thing is we don't want it to listen to chat unless we want it to listen to chat, if that were to make sense. But when we do, we want it to actually work, which would be really helpful. So keeping that in mind, I suppose the default for this could be interactive mode. See if we can find what that, what it was that we used last time. It was sort of like CLI options, like there's clap, but there's we can actually go look at that. What is it? It's the random chooser. Pico args. That's what we were using. So we can use Pico args for this. We'll go ahead and get that started. Oh, there it is. Okay, so here we get the value from stir, and then we get it passed in what we want. Interesting that it says keys, plural. Could I do keys, plural? It uses from stir, so that doesn't make sense to me. Okay, but I think this will be simple enough. We probably want the let's create like an arguments, like a command line argument struct that we can then basically wrap this in so we can use it. KO2 fan, hello, good morning. How are you doing today? So let's just do, we have our command library. And then in here, we're gonna have, I guess, just like the CLI arguments. Call this just arguments. And you are an RS file. Awesome, that's great to hear. Usually around halfway through the week is when I'm starting to get like tired, and I'm like, oh man, the weekend's now closer than the last weekend, so now I want that one to come sooner. I suppose maybe I don't need this to be hub. Maybe I want to just mod arguments. And we want something like run in the library. Like main is just running it. We don't really care about this. Okay, so the first step that would happen, we are going to want internal state. So we are going to want like some kind of main state. We can do that in here. Now the reason for that is because I'm going to want to store the actual choices in here somewhere. So I'm initially thinking that can be like choices would be something like probably like a hash map of the choice, which could be a string, and then the color for it, which could just be our own color struct that we create. So something, come on, do that. Something like that is what I'm thinking of. Which means we get to grab this here. So in function main, okay, so we're gonna create that here, and then what do you mean it's not being used? It should be, it's being used right there. Oh, you're saying that I need a default. That's all you're saying. Okay. Derive. Default. And then here, if I do that, I can at this point in time, just from new, we're just gonna do self default. So that's going to be fine there. We're not using hash map for real. That was just sort of like a thought. So we gotta get rid of you. Okay, so what's next? What do I need to do here? We create our main state. We want, I mean, I could even like call this main instead of just main state, but it is what's holding everything together. I want to have our arguments load up. So we want to load up what the arguments are. So that's probably going to be another a mod here. Yeah. Well, actually we already have that mod here. So, and we're already modding it. So we're going to have a pub struct arguments. So what are the arguments that we care about here? Right now it's going to be interactive mode. So interactive mode, that's going to be a Boolean. Twitch mode, a Boolean. Right now, those are the only two choices that I can think of, especially if you look at our requirements here. Basically, interactive mode here, and then we'll be asking for what we need, but those are no longer going to be arguments coming in. That's going to be sort of like the reading one line at a time. So if we just look at this, when we create our arguments, we also want it to read out, right? Oh wait, we can go look at the examples for this too. One of these had the help. Oh, here it is. Okay, so we can have our help. Now it looks to me like the help is just a manual string that we write. So it's not something that's like auto-generated by picoargs. I think clap does that though, but we're doing such a simple one that it's not really gonna, it's not gonna be that hard for us. So we can set this up. So we can do the same sort of pattern here. So help, gonna be a stir. All right, so this is going to be chooser collector. What's the structure of this? Oh, right, we'll have this like usage. Here, let's just grab all these. Okay, so usage, this is going to be collector, and then options. I don't care about the number. We don't have you, and input wouldn't happen, so we'll just have these options. We can have this -h or --help. Okay, so that print out these. Now our options are interactive. So I kind of like the idea of like -i, -- interactive. Don't need to do anything here. Then I want this to be this default. And this is collect choices using an interactively. I've been interactively asked for the what would this be? The name, its name, and the color, one at a time. I suppose there's one other thing that we might want to do here. We might want to just choose, like, to give it a file of like just names, and it converts it into the appropriate into the appropriate thing. Yeah. So that would be neither interactive nor Twitch chat. Which then it would be a file name. So if I do like, okay, let's just do this. Actually, I kind of like active because then it just makes it easy to see. But I also like the -f file. This one is going to be read choice names from a file, generate a choices file with choices file using, okay, and generate a choices file from the names. I guess the output, we could set the output to be CSV or JSON, except I kind of feel that like when we're outputting like this, just purely JSON might be the nicest way for it. Let's see. Okay, so interactive, we have the file for when we're just reading. We have -t. Choices by reading from Twitch chat. We can also have like what they're listening for. It's like the Twitch chat command. Are these options mutually exclusive? Also, good morning, Oscar Ellen. Yes. So the idea is that you can only have one choice. So the names have to be unique. That's a good point. So we should probably have like a description here. So create a JSON choices file meant to be used with the random chooser physics program. Let's do only one, like names must be unique. Names must be unique. If a name is used twice, the second will be ignored. I'm trying to think about, like, I guess perhaps the best way to deal with this would be like if we have like the Twitch command, we can just like C command, Twitch command to listen for, the Twitch command to listen for in Twitch chat. So maybe just command to listen for in Twitch chat. Whatever this is will have a bang to the front of it. Let's see, what else do I need to care about? Maybe our output file. So file name to write to by default. File name is, I think it's just gonna be like choices.json. And I think that's gonna be it. This is all that we're gonna care about. We could do some examples here. So examples. So what are you yelling at me about? Constant is never, well, yes, I know it's never used. Don't worry about that. Okay, so examples. This could be user collector. I guess I put an underscore on it, so it's probably going to be an underscore. Chooser collector, and then that will just be it. Like at that point, it'll just be let's see, that's one way to do it. Chooser collector. I want to do dash file, so like game names. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, we can do the dash output to game choices JSON. Then we can do Twitch with the dash C, and I want that to be oh, okay, this needs to actually be the command. So dash C command and then command. So dash C. So right now I'm thinking like here would be default. Default here is used. But this could be something like what else would be a good command for like, hey, I want to be in here. Maybe something like add me. All right, I think those are our examples. What are you? Oh, wait, can't use this unless I do something like that. Okay, so we have our help stir. We have some more things in here that we need to worry about. So we have interactive mode, we have that Twitch mode, we have the file. So read the choice names from a file. Okay, so this is gonna be the file name. If there is a file, this will have to be an option because it's possible that we're not doing that. And then that will have to be a string for like the file name. Then, okay, so we have the Twitch, interactive, the command. So this would be Twitch command. This is also gonna have to be an option with a string inside. And then output. So output file is going to be a string because we're going to have a default for that. Okay, so how are these used? So we have our app args, we have our main. We're going to parse args. Prints the args. Oh, okay, because they parse args is a function that does this thing. Right, okay, so we get the arguments from the command line. Then we handle help. So this should probably be something like a new in here for our constructor. Arguments is actually going to do this thing, which also I need to return some kind of like error handling system. So I'm going to use error. All right, so pub function new. I don't think we need to pass anything in here. We'll see if we do. We're definitely going to return a result, error result with an argument, or rather self, inside. This is the first thing we need to do. So pico args, arguments from env. So that essentially is like the raw arguments. We could call this the pico args. It's sort of like pico arguments equals pico args arguments from env. Okay, that gives us these arguments. Then we want to do, okay, so if you contains either of these, so if arguments contains, and then the keys, that's going to be an array of strings. So we're going to have -h, -help. Then we're going to print this help, and we're going to exit out. So initially, like my initial thought is arguments shouldn't be exiting. That should only happen in the main file. But is that true? Like, do we actually care about that fully? Because if I do this, okay, contains -h help. I probably then want to actually return, like, it's not really an error, but maybe it can be, sort of, kind of. Okay, so if you contain that, then we want to print. What's the difference? Print standard output, print standard output with a new line. I mean, I'm okay with print standard output with a new line. And so that's gonna be that help. But at the end of this, I then want to do an early return of a don't know if I want to bail. I want to like actually have an error that's maybe not fully an error. We can do error like that. I think that's what I want. Construct an ad hoc error from a string. But that... yeah, I can't really... that's not really good exit for that. We could set what these are by defaults. So we can just show like help. So Boolean. So what if I returned the arguments, but help was true, and so then the main function can then just read that and say, ooh, help was printed, time for us to exit out. So this doesn't really care about this, it just fills this in. So if it contains h and help, then I want to grab that, and then I want to return it. Okay, a self. So interactive mode is false. Twitch mode, false. File is none. Twitch command, none. Output file. And you know what might make sense? What if we create like the default of these? Because I think we can derive default. We can actually create them here. This might make, okay, this might make more sense. So let arguments, I want this to be mutable, equals self default. Then we're gonna say arguments dot help equals true. So we're printing the help, and we're gonna just do an early return of an okay and these arguments. All right, so we get to that point. Now, if we get past here, let's just say we return these arguments. Of course, you have to be arguments. You need to be mutable. Okay. All right, so then we need to actually run you. So we have our main state new. We want you to return a result as well. So an error result with a self inside. We have the self default. We're going to want to store the arguments inside of here. So arguments. We're going to make you public. Arguments. It's going to be type arguments. I guess default doesn't make as much sense anymore because even though the other one implements a default, I don't want it to. I want it to run a new. So this is going to be a arguments equals arguments new. That gives us that. And then we're going to return and okay. Self arguments. Your publics, then back into main. We create our main state. We can actually return result here. So that mostly just allows us to question mark that to handle the result and have it like crash out and print out whatever we want from that error. Okay, then we can have this main state and look into it. So if main state dot arguments dot you need to be public. So all of these need to be public, really. Dot help. Okay, so if this is true, then we've already printed that help out. Actually, that's super interesting. What if we don't do that side effect? What if we just do this? We're just saying, hey, you know what? We're setting help to true and we're just returning arguments right now with the default arguments. Back to here in main. Here, help is true, so we're going to print that help now. So this is now, we're going to do the print line of you need to be a pub const. So we can then do can I find that? I don't know if I can find this out easily. I mean, I could have a function that sort of returns what this help is. That help text is going to be a stir. Return help. Then you are going to return arguments. Oh, it's the main state. Main state. Main state. Arguments help text. And then here we can exit with a 0 code. So if I were to run this now, cargo run ---- -h, Here we go. There's our help printed out for us. Now, if I want to make this smaller, to sort of like see what it looks like. It's not the best, but it certainly works. It's a lot nicer if it's like we've got this nice wide screen, but I think it should be good enough for our uses here. Kind of want to get extra spaces between here. Well, between the flags and the options. So usage, that's, yeah, I think I want to do that. That looks a little bit nicer to me. The examples has that extra space here, which is not necessary. Okay. All right, so we're good. We're with like the first part of it. So we can get the help. Let's go ahead, commit that change up. So this is just my work in progress. I'll like keep on amending that commit, but at least I can then just go back to the last one that's like the last state that's working pretty easily. Okay, so once we have our, I guess like that's the basic argument. Let's keep on adding to these. So now we need to make sure that we're like interactive mode, like building the rest of this out. So, what does that look like? So we can do our pargs value from string or optional value from string. Oh, and it returns an option or otherwise. Okay. So opt value from string or value from stir. Okay, so that means we're gonna just start updating this. So interactive mode. It's optional, I suppose. So how would this look? Is this actually just going to be like a bunch of ifs here? I can also have like private functions for like set interactive mode. Not pub. Function set interactive mode. And then we have the Pico arguments, which is this. I guess it. These are Pico arguments, right? Yeah, they're Pico arguments. So it's not arguments like that. This is going to be Pico args arguments like that. And return a result like that. So what I'm thinking of is like, it could just be like small functions for like each one of these specific things here. So for interactive mode, we're going to take in a Pico arguments. We want to check to see if that's set. So let's mode equals Pico arguments dot opt value from stir, and then our keys. So in this case, I think what we can do is that array where we have dash I dash dash interactive. that gives us this option of an unknown. So then let some, basically this is like just chosen. Like I don't really, if it's there, that's all I really care about. So equals interactive mode. Then I want to self.interactive mode equals true. And that's all I really care about this. Now can I tell you not to care about, oh, it's probably just contains then, because I don't care about the value. Oh, I just want contains. That's all. Contains. That's it. That gives me the Boolean if it contains it. Which then in that case, I don't need to do this entire thing. We can just do, come on, self.interactive mode equals contains that. Why are you upset? Because I misspelled okay. Pico arguments. Oh, you need to be mutable. Mutable reference. So that would work. So then we can just come down here and say our arguments dot set interactive mode and have a mutable reference to those Pico arguments. Now in this case, it can't possibly error out, so we don't need to do any return whatsoever. So we can just do that, and we're happy here. So it simplifies new, but allows us to sort of like deal with this. I like it. Okay, let's look at the next one. So we have then Twitch mode, which I think is just -t or --Twitch. Okay, and we'll just use this. Next, the file. So the file, we actually need file like then space what that file is. So file name. This one's we're definitely reading. So function set file name. I guess just set file. This one, I believe we're gonna have to return a result. All right, so how's this gonna work? We're gonna have to do like that entire if let thing. So if let some, because it is optional. It's gonna be the name. I guess we just call this file equals. Okay, so this is the Pico arguments dot opt value from stir. The keys are going to be -f file, and then we get the file name from that. Is that right? Expected enum, found enum, option. Okay, so it's a result with an option. Okay, so $U. Type annotations needed. Okay, so can't figure out what this is. So then we're going to take that file, we're going to store it inside of here. So you're actually an option. I don't need to do this entire if let, do I? We could just do some file. We can just do self dot file equals to that. It should figure out what the type is. It's a string. It stores the option in there. Could I? Yeah, okay. That's that should be perfect. So then we can set the file. Right, then we have Twitch command. Okay, so here we're gonna do pretty much the same thing, except we want to provide it a default. So we can actually have a default Twitch command here. Const default Twitch command. You are a stir, and you're gonna be here. I just have you be a string. Don't know if I can do that. Oh, I can do that. Okay. So then down here. Okay, so when we're setting our Twitch command, we're going to read in the Twitch command, but if it doesn't exist, we want to set what it is. So Twitch command, this should probably just be a string. That way we'll be setting it to be whatever the default is. Now what? Oh, okay. So now I can't actually do that. So we'll just do stir like that. And we'll to own that when we run it. If we need to run it, essentially. Okay, so set the Twitch command. We need to grab the option from a string, and then we're gonna do a or default, essentially, or else, something like that. So self dot Twitch, no, that self dot Twitch command. So that's just the string. It's going to be equal to arguments opt value from string are keys. So that is -c or -- command. Okay, that returns a result. This now gives us an option. An option with T in it. So then I want to do or else, and then it gives us a function which just returns essentially the default Twitch command you owned. Mismatch types, expected struct string found in an option. Oh, it's an unwrap or. That's what it was. Unwrap or else. You go in there. And you go away. There we go. Okay, so then we can set Twitch command here. Output file. The output file, the file name to write to. Then we have by default, the file name is choices.json. So we can create that here too. So const default. Default output file. You know, something else I'm thinking about here though is we could manually set what default is. So instead of deriving default like this, we could import default for arguments. Then we're going to turn a self here. Okay, so interactive mode, default is true. Twitch mode, default is false. File is default, I think it's a none. File's an option, yeah. Twitch command is a default of default Twitch command to owned. Output file is default output file to owned. I think that works. Can I make it a static stir? Because it's hard coded in here. So no, I can't, because you have to be a string because I might change it. So to owned is the way I have to do this. To owned, and then help is false. Okay, so if I do this, then we get the default. It's like setting all the defaults for us. I don't have to do any of this fun stuff here. It's mostly just if it exists, if we have this option here, then we're going to go ahead and set it. Otherwise, we're not going to do anything at all. So then we're back to an if let. So if let, this is going to be the command equals this. I don't need to unwrap or else here. Then we do self dot Twitch command is equal to command. We do if let sum. There we go. Okay, so that gives us out our Twitch command. I don't need any other or else's here. So let's set the Twitch command. Output file to write to. So that's the last thing. All right, what do we want to do here? We have the output file we're going to write to. I want to basically do exactly the same thing that we have here. So let sum, it's going to be the file name. Arguments, so it's the option value from stir. We want this to be dash. Is it O? It's O and output. Question mark U. That gives us that. We're gonna do self dot Twitch output. No, output file equals file name. All right, I want to derive debug for this. So that way we can play around with this and actually like debug out. So let's just do a debug of main state dot arguments. I wanna see like a bunch of these options that we're sort of passing back and forth, and if this is actually working. So we just do a cargo run. Here's what we got. Interactive mode is false. Why is that false? Why are you false? Shouldn't you be true? Interactive mode is true set there. So get the default. Set interactive mode. Yeah, this is definitely not what I want to happen. Basically, if it has this, so like if it contains this, self.interactive mode equals true. And that's it. Okay, let's try it again. Now interactive mode is true. It's one of those things where like I've seen this a lot in a pattern where you can do interactive mode like this and it will still set it to be true. Just to force it. But there is the default there too. Okay, then we have Twitch mode. Okay, so Twitch mode. We have -T. It's Twitch. Okay, that sets that to be true. Now, we probably want something where we cannot have interactive mode and Twitch mode at the same time. It has to be like, if interactive mode is set to true, then, well, we can't do any of the other. See, is that true? Then file has to be none. Twitch mode has to be false. We don't care about the Twitch command. We don't care about the output file. But basically we can't do... We can't set... Okay, so in arguments here, before we return, we can do a little bit of validation here. Maybe we can even just put this into a function. So function validate. We're going to return a result. So we're not going to return anything in the result if it passes. So we'll have something like that here. But we can do some like guard checks here. So if self.interactive mode and self.twitch mode, then we're going to want to bail and state cannot not have interactive mode and Twitch mode set at the same time. Okay, so then we want to validate this at the end. So just arguments, validate, question mark that. So if we come back to here, we have them both set to true. So if I run this, cannot have interactive mode and Twitch mode set at the same time. So that's great and all, but if I want Twitch mode, then I need to set interactive mode to be false explicitly. So back to here in set Twitch mode, if this is true, so if self.twitch mode, then I want to do self.interactive mode equals false. Now, can I even get this as a problem now? Okay, so that's fine. Interactive mode is false. Twitch mode is true. But if I do something like, yeah, because we check for interactive mode first. Therefore, we never actually run into that problem. Or at least we shouldn't. I'm going to keep that guard clause in there though, because like if somehow we do run to the state, which we shouldn't be able to, we want to be able to crash and like know that that's what the cause was. Okay, so interactive mode and Twitch mode are not compatible with each other. The file is fine regardless of all of them. Actually, no, that's not completely true. Interactive mode and Twitch mode, both of them are not compatible with file. So those can't be in here. So if we get past that where interactive mode and Twitch mode is together, then if self.interactive mode or self.twitch mode if you're set and self dot file is set, if let sum just anything is equal to self.file. Actually, we can use matches, can't we, here? So, and matches, how does this work again? We match the left one is the variable and the right one is the pattern, I think. So in this case, it's gonna be self.file, and then the pattern is gonna be none. Okay, so if this is true now, we want to bail. Cannot read choices from a file if we are reading, if we are getting choices interactively or through Twitch chat. Okay, so let's run this again. So our file mode should be none. That obviously did not work. My matches didn't return. Oh, and matches is like a, oh, I want this to be like a sum of anything. There we go. Okay. Now if I set the file, so f to be something, cannot read choices from a file for also getting choices interactively or through a Twitch chat. Now if I come off and we don't use this -f, if we're using it from the file, just like before, we need to set file. We need to also set if let some, might as well do this here. So if set some file equals u, then self.file is equal to file. Oh, that's interesting. That gives us, wait, I thought that was result. Oh, it's gonna be a sum file. That's what you are. You're a sum file, okay. And then in that case, we want to do self.interactive mode equals false. Okay, so that works. File is a sum with something in it. Otherwise, if we just don't have this at all, we're a file with nothing in it. Okay. Twitch command should be able to be just set. So like even if I do this with -c and like me, we can set that, and then the output file, regardless, should be able to be set to like file. There it goes. And then no matter what, if we just do -help, we print the help and we bail out. Okay. I think that's what we want to grab. And if we want to be a little bit nicer about this message coming out, instead of just like returning from here, we could catch this error. Where's it happening? Right here. Okay, so new main state new. We could match on that and actually just like debug print it out. So we can match on main state. If it's actually, it would just be like an if let error, right? Oh no, because okay, so if we're okay, we have like the main state, and we're gonna return that state. However, if we're in error, then we have this error here. We're going to print eprint error, eprint line. Probably something like error. And the error. And then we don't do that question mark anymore. Can you not do this? Oh, we want to return that. And then you expected oh, this probably is just going to be an exit, isn't it? So that, and then we're going to just have an exit with like a code of, let's just say 1. So we have that, and then if we do let's see, what do I need to do for this? Oh, here it is. We got our error. So it printed out what that error is. All right, I think that can be perfect for us. So it is after 8:25. I'm gonna go ahead and I think it's time. Yeah, I've got to get off and start heading to work. So if you've been watching this on YouTube, thank you so much. And I will see you in the next video for